Ahoy, everybody! SpongeBob here! Oh, it's great to be back! A lot of you have asked me what I do when I'm not doing on my podcast. Well, I spend time with my friends and foes. Speaking of which, this episode is called Friend or Foe. With me today is Mr. Krabs. Ahoy! And Plankton! Alright, let's get this over with so I can get back to stealing the Krabby Patty formula. Okay. Wait, are you really going to do that? Just get on with it! Well, without further ado, let's get started. Basically, this episode starts off with Patchy and Potty flipping burgers so they can be like their favorite hero, me! Then Patchy shows Potty some of the creations he made, but Potty is not amazed. This makes Patchy upset. Then the scene transitions to the Krusty Krab and when Plankton tries to steal the Krabby Patty formula once again. Then the big question is asked, why does Plankton hate us so? Then Mr. Krabs explains that he and Plankton used to be best friends. He even explains why he loves money so much. They even worked together to open up a restaurant that used to be called Stinky Burgers, which was owned by a guy named Stinky. How they ended up in a fight was still a mystery, until Karen came along to tell us more of the story. You see, the restaurant that Mr. Krabs and Plankton opened was at a dump. Then they came across Old Man Jenkins and gave him a delicious burger, but it poisoned him. They blame each other for what caused the poisoning. So Plankton decides to take the recipe and fix it, but Mr. Krabs claims that the recipe was his. This soon ends up in a fight over whose burger was better, Plankton's Chum Burger or Mr. Krabs' Krabby Patty. Of course, the Krabby Patty wins. Karen couldn't believe that they let a recipe ruin such a beautiful friendship. So Mr. Krabs and Plankton hug and cry because they felt sorry for each other. But then Plankton steals the Krabby Patty formula once again, and Mr. Krabs and I chase after it. And that's how the episode ends. Oh, and if you're wondering about Patchy and Potty, they got fired at the end. I could not believe Plankton managed to get the formula from me pocket. Of course, why wouldn't I? Settle down, you two. I was settled. It's him who has to settle down. Anyway, on to my favorite parts. My first favorite part was swallowing the Krabby Patty formula so Plankton wouldn't get it. You have no idea how I got it out of me. I do, but I don't want to tell. My second favorite part was hearing the character sides of the story. They were very interesting. But it wasn't as interesting as mine. Yours didn't make a lot of sense, Plankton. Now my third favorite part was seeing Mr. Krabs and Plankton make up. It warmed my heart. Apparently it didn't warm Karen's heart because, well, she doesn't have one. But she does have feelings. Hey, fun fact! Did you know this episode is the first one to have a TVY7 rating? That means anyone can watch an episode who is age 7 and up. I mean, there could be violence in them. Yeah, violence! You know, violence is never the answer, Plankton. Just like adding a pinch of Tom to a recipe is never the answer. Oh, please, like you even remember the recipe. Of course I do, but I would never reveal it. Oh, really? Then how come you mentioned it in the 4th episode of your podcast? Speaking of mentioning things, let's mention the number of viewers we got. Not available. Again. But it was a special episode. Yeah. Now, guys, let's remember that we had fun shooting this episode. I mean, we got to hear the story of how Mr. Krabs and Plankton became bitter enemies. Except Krabs' side of the story was not accurate. Yours wasn't accurate either. You're not accurate, Eugene. Neither are you, Sheldon. How dare you call me by my first name? Okay, I better go calm these two down. But before I do, I'd like to say this. See you next time where I talk about the episode Fungus Among Us. Bye!